Troy, what do you make of this one? I mean, you have a couple leads that slip away, you get outshot, but obviously such an important result for you guys at the same time.
Yeah, it was it was a kind of like a Sunday afternoon game. You didn't know what you were going to get from 1 minute to the next. It was like last Sunday in San Antonio, but it's just the way this game works. We've been around it now together, a lot of us here in the Valley for a couple, 3 years, and games like last night when you go and you home and you break down the game, that was a game we probably should have won. We lost 5-2, but the chances were like, I think we had them 25-11, and we got beat 5-2. And tonight I wouldn't say that we got outchanced 25-11, but I thought they carried the play to us. And but that's just the way the hockey game works, So tonight we were opportunistic. They had a really good push in the second. It seemed like kind of the slipper was on the other foot. We've had some really good pushes here of late and got no rewards, and we had just a couple of flurries in the second period, and they both went in, ironically. So it's kind of the way the game works at times.
Roman Horak's been a bit of a barometer for you guys with respect to his scoring. I mean, 10 goals in the first 9 games, and things are rolling well for you. And tonight was his first goal in 25 games. Yeah.
That's not printable. That would wreck that guy. 25 games, his first goal. Do not print that. Well, Roman's a really good player. Roman's an NHL player. He's an NHL player. He can play at that level. And ironically, you probably score easier at that level than he does at this level. That's usually the way it works. So he had great legs tonight. That was, whether he scored the goal in overtime or not, I thought he played a good game. So I thought that he got what he deserved. Like, I thought he had a good game. I felt bad for him and Sven. Like, we got developing players here that have to go up and help the Calgary Flames yet this year. Regardless of what happens here, we've got to develop players. And so I put Roman and Barchi out there, who really don't play 4-on-5 a lot. But Sven and Roman have to be ready to kill penalties for the Flames when they go up. That's part of our job here. And I felt bad for him to get scored on. So I just wanted to wait for about 3 shifts in the overtime and put it back in their shoes and give them a chance again to respond to that. And I was really happy for those two to get that, but especially Roman.
What's been going on with Horak's game just over the last couple months, I guess, sort of when the goals haven't been there for him?
There's, I don't know if Roman, to that point, obviously he had a really good hot streak early in the year that most players would never experience, 10 goals in 9 games. So you just chalk that up to the goodness and the gracious of the game. Like, you just enjoy that while it's there. But the reality sets in as to who you are. Like, his development is really, he's not a hard player. Like, his heart is never going to be through his shoulders. It's not going to be through his hands. His heart is in his legs. If he skates the game really well, like we saw tonight, then he showed you tonight, like, I can play in the National Hockey League. And that's what he did. So his development areas have been totally different. Like, even though the scoring has went away, we don't look at him to develop his scoring touch. Like, we look at putting him in opportunities through the process to score goals, but yet I don't think that's his calling as a professional hockey player. It's more of he's a controlled game. He's a very smart man, and he plays just a very systematical, a good game for you as a coach, and that's what he's doing. But we're doing other things. We're working on his wall play. We use him in a lot of different spots. That's part of his development. He's playing the right wing. Here's a kid that normally is from the Czech Republic that plays center and left wing. It's a big change. That's like all of us going home and driving on the right side of the car. Like, that's just not normal for us. We drive on the left side. Like, that's how awkward that is. So I'm sure that, he's happy with his development, but yet he still wants to score goals.
You guys are heading back out on the road. Do you want to just talk a little bit about how you guys are going to generate some wins on the road?
Well, like I've said before, it's just how you eat an elephant, one bite at a time. I mean, we just, we just got to take it one day at a time. I mean, we're going into all 3 of these buildings. Hamilton we've really struggled with. Hamilton hasn't been a good matchup for this team. We've had a little bit of success here at home. We haven't had success there. And I think they got their confidence right now. They're playing really well. So that's been a difficult matchup, and those are the first 2. And the Toronto thing is a great matchup because we just naturally get up for each other, I think, from last year's playoff series, and we enjoy that game, and we've had some success in Toronto this year. So it's an important trip, but we'll just take her one day, one bite at a time, and We have to play with great discipline at this point, and I mean by discipline, relative to special teams and just systematical discipline. We've got to play an error-free game based on where we're at. No Chris Breen right now. We got some guys missing. We lost Banks tonight during the game. He never returned after the first. Carson tried to come back on the bench, but we lost him in the first. So we're losing guys right and left, and that's part of the business. So, for us to have success on the road, we're going to have to play error-free hockey.
Do you have a feel for how long Breen might be out at this point?
No, I really don't. He's he's got to get looked at further by some specialists this week, but it could be a while. It could be maybe the rest of the year. I'm not really sure at this point, but he's in tough shape. And he's tired. Like, the guy's 6'7". He's legit tired. Part of it is he's physically gassed. The only thing I'd say publicly to everybody that watches the Heat and cares about the Heat, like, for these guys, they're a resilient group. Like, we don't have a lot left in the tank. We just don't have a lot left in the tank, and I think that's evident from people that cover us and are around our team every day. Like, they don't have much. When you finish the Christmas break on the road, you start post-Christmas on the road. You finish the All-Star game on the road. You start the All-Star game after the All-Star game on the road, and then you just finished a 16-day trip and you come home for a measly 7 days or 6 days, and now you go back out for another 8. Like, they're physically exhausted. And it wasn't last night that we played well. It was a mental exhaustion. It was so bad, like on tape this morning, we texted them at 7:30 and told them to stay home. We didn't even skate this morning. They're just physically exhausted. And it's more mental than it is physical, but if your 6'7" player is physically exhausted and they're laying on the table, like, can you imagine what Sly and those guys are like? Like, they're just little dudes. Like, can you imagine what they have in the tank? So, really proud of them today. Like, they could have folded tonight. Could have folded at 2-2. They could have folded at 3-3. I'm a lucky guy. It's a good group to coach. It's pretty impressive what they did tonight.
Anything else? Good. Thanks.
That's it.